What's up, everybody? It's me again, and it's time to lean in, bitch. We out here for Married to Medicine, season 8. I think I said 7 last week, but it's season 8, child, so I got it right this week. But on the screen, who is ready to lean in today is Antonio. Welcome back to the lean, Antonio. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the league.
I'm glad you came back. We got a lot of buzz from the Salt Lake City recaps that we did about 3, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Hmm.
So, as I mentioned last week, this new platform here for the Lean, it'll be a recurring or rotating guest every other week or whatever. So, Antonio is on the panel for Married to Medicine officially as of today. So you'll be
And I'm
seeing
ready.
him. That way you can follow up with what he says. If you agree, good. If you don't agree, then you'll see him again. You can talk shit about him later. But until then, let's get into this episode. Last week, Chase was here. And so I didn't really get a chance to talk to you about just the opening of the show. So before we get into this episode, what were your initial thoughts on the first episode of the season?
The first episode of the season, I didn't have any expectations
Mm-hmm.
just because I knew that they were filming during COVID, and I know how that must
Mm-hmm.
have been really hard for production and
Mm-hmm.
also for the cast as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did a great job for a first episode, and they were also able to, have an event where everybody could be invited and come, so that way you kind of get a feel for maybe how the next few episodes, or at least until maybe mid-season, potentially how that's going to go. So I think the first episode did a good job of setting the stage for what's to come.
Okay. Any standout moments from the first episode that you felt?
Um, Patrona, Toya, and her drunk ass. I lived for it. Toya, she had that damn Patron on the bus on the ride over there. She had already said she didn't want to go because she would rather be at a 5 star, but she wanted a 3 star.
Ooh.
And yeah, she was kind of letting Heavenly have it, but that was definitely the standout for me. And the way she, like, kind of read not only the women, but then went over to the men and kind of got
uh-huh.
at them too.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing. That was great TV for Toya Bush Harris. I loved it.
So okay, so let's just go into this episode because that's where it picks up. The last episode she stormed off. She was drunk. In this episode, she stormed off and whatever and went over to the men. Now, I was a little worried because you know how women are when it comes to their husbands, especially on this show. And she
Yeah.
wasn't attacking the men, but coming over there and basically being like, you this and you that. Like, it's like, how does a man really respond? I'm glad that all of them was just like, and then her
Yeah.
husband was like, let me get her drunk ass out of here. She was like, he's like, did you eat?
Yeah,
It's so
that was
funny.
funny. He was like, "Did you eat the crabs in the bucket or whatever he said?" That was
That's
good.
so
Yeah,
funny because when you're drunk, that's the first thing I ask my friends, and when I think about when I'm drunk, I'm like, damn, did I eat? Because if I ain't ate, then you get a little bit of Toya.
yeah,
That's just what happens.
yeah,
But I was worried, but I'm glad that it was kind of like it didn't go there. And then, like Simone said, Anila, the friend she brought, was just sitting over there like doo doo doo. They was just like,
and Nita was like, "What the hell am I supposed to be doing?"
and the
She
way
done
she
left
was,
me.
stepping up and talking for a little bit earlier, I thought she was gonna get up and leave too. However, right, so I was just a little confused. But the argument, the conversation between Jackie and Simone happened. They were trying to, Heavenly was like, okay, we good, so let's talk about you two or whatever. And this is obviously gonna be like a big storyline for majority of the season, and they holding on to this
Right,
grudge strong. So
very strong.
with what happened, how do you feel about the dynamic between Simone basically versus Jackie and Heavenly? Because Heavenly, she obviously it comes at Simone, comes at anybody. That's just Heavenly. But with Jackie, she's always so quiet. So like, what's your thoughts
She
on?
is.
She's always so quiet. So what's your thoughts on the whole situation on how Simone feels versus how Jackie feels, and also the little mix of Heavenly too?
First of all, it's kind of crazy to me that Patrona, aka Toya, had said on the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
all of that was fake because they did all this hugging and crying and roll on the floor and talking at the reunion, and now it's like these same issues. it seems like it's more of lack of communication is what's causing this breakdown
Yeah.
in both friendships to happen. Simone and Heavenly, as well as also Simone and Jackie. What I feel like Simone, because if it was somebody, my closest friends, I've been friends with them for 13, 14 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if we are having that type of situation,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna pull you to the side or you pull me to the side, and we can really sit down and hash it out, and
Right.
either know if we're gonna move forward as friends or if we're not, because it's like they just kind of dragging it on, and it's like nobody is making an attempt to try and make it right.
Right.
So that was kind of crazy to me. I do appreciate Heavenly for at least trying to step up and seeing what doing what she could
Mm-hmm.
in order to try and mend fences or at least get everybody on a page where the next step could be a potential in-depth talk, even though that
Right.
kind of went south a few minutes later. But I appreciate her for that. And like you said, it is funny that Heavenly she will definitely go to the gutter on any of those other women, but I don't. She's made little jabs at Jackie, but I don't recall her ever going at Jackie like how she goes at some of the others. And it could be more of a respect thing,
Mm-hmm.
as well. Like she kind of holds Jackie to a higher standard or respects her a little bit more than maybe she does some of the other women in the group.
Well, so my issue, and I think me and Chase talked about this last week, is that with Jackie being quiet, it's an issue. And I think Chase said this last week that the mouthpiece for Jackie was once always Simone. And so I think she got tired of being the person that would say it versus maybe it was being fed to her from Jackie or maybe she felt that way.
True.
And what's happening now, I feel like Heavenly is the mouthpiece for Jackie now. That's why Jackie is always so quiet, even now. And I feel like she like even this moment she was like, so what's going on between you and Jackie and Simone, whatever. And I'm like, first of all, it's not your place. Like these are best friends. So
Hmm.
these two
Yeah.
should be able to. If they ain't came together on their own, like I get you on the show, I do get it. But being the obviously the issue because Simone can say what she want to say. She definitely feels a
Right.
way about her best friend being close with this friend that she's having issues with. She definitely feels a
Right.
way. I would
Yeah.
have just let them figure it out. I wouldn't even get involved because I would feel like it's putting you basically putting yourself in the middle, and you also it's not a good place to be. So that's what I didn't like about it. But I applaud Heavenly for trying at least, but it must be
Yeah.
a hard place for being someone that this person don't really. She liked me. We got an issue, but I'm now friends with her best friend. They got an issue, so I don't know.
Well, even with that, I was thinking because I caught that as well. I'm like, Jackie ain't really said anything,
Yeah,
but then I'm like, okay, maybe it's a editing type of situation because
yeah,
as Simone walked off initially, she said, it's three against one. So I took that as maybe heavily Jackie and Contessa was kind of coming at Simone, and maybe that was edited out of the
mm-hmm.
scene possibly when she said that. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Jackie was talking, but they just made it seem like that she wasn't.
Yeah. This
I hope that's the
situation,
case
these
anyway.
two kind of remind me of like we've seen many fallouts on Bravo. This reminds
Yeah,
me of Candy and Phaedra. This is what this give me.
yeah,
I'm getting like there's some hurt, there's something, there's more to it. There's like a new person in the mix that this, what I'm saying,
hmm,
and it's a little jealousy and it's a little like her and that's what I'm getting from it. But Jackie did speak up when she basically said that she was upset that she was taking Buffy's side last year.
right.
Um,
She did.
so, and I'm just like, okay, and we're gonna talk about this like, later on again too. Like, I'm at the place to where I feel like if I accept your apology, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna let you know that I accept your apology, but we ain't good, and I'm still mad. Or I'm gonna accept your apology and I'm gonna have to move on. And
Right.
I thought they accepted apologies and moved on. And so
I
that's
did
why I
too.
was just a little confused about that, like how they got to that place. This happened again. Who else said that they were upset? Oh, this happened again right afterwards with Simone basically
Come on.
saying that I'm still mad at you about these tweets. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
damn. Now come on now. Y'all can't be doing like I get like you be in a moment and the cameras may make you feel pressure to make up, but child, if you go as hard and stone cold as Simone is being right now, she should just keep that same energy and just be like, no, I'm still mad, but it's like I don't get it. Even with the last
It's
scene with
like
her
too much
meeting
back
with
and forth.
Heavenly, I don't get it. It's just too much back and forth. So I would be confused too. I'm very Toya right now. Like y'all fake as hell.
That's why I said I was living for Patrona because it's crazy because I'm like, okay, I thought y'all squashed everything, but then to get back and now, Simone, you really not over the tweets. Now,
Hmm.
granted, Heavenly did drag the fuck out of you and your husband,
Yeah.
but he did say something about her
Yeah.
first in
He
her
did. He did.
defense.
He did.
So, but I thought, if you guys are gonna talk about it, roll around on the floor, whatever,
Yeah.
and move on, then you should move on. And with the Buffy and Jackie thing, to me, if you feel like your best friend potentially didn't stick up for you or took the side of someone else that was
Hmm.
pretty much new coming into the group, then I think there's a bit more of some issues that have happened in the past and maybe they never discussed to cause her to feel
Yeah.
that way. And it's all festering now. So I'm like, it's no way that you could be friends with somebody for 20 years and think that they just gonna let somebody, dog you out when you're not around. Like it is no way possible.
Well, that's
Or I
what
guess it
that's
is
what Heaven
possible.
Heaven was like. Have you been talking shit about her or something like that or something like basically
Yeah.
like she was just like, and then I think Simone was like, why I don't know why you would think that I would what'd you say I would
Hmm.
what'd you say I can't think of the exact words.
I don't. I can't either. But she said, I don't. Why would you think that your friend of 20 years wouldn't have your back?
Yeah.
Is what she said. Something to that effect. So
Well,
that to me
but
seems like,
that's a very touchy subject. I feel like loyalty in friendships is very can be very tricky. Everybody sees loyalty different. And so that's why you have to have communication because communication clears
yeah,
up any gray areas that there may be. And I feel like I don't think that she didn't think she didn't have her back, but she was just probably like, "Why are you taking her side?" And I'm the type of friend to where I'm definitely gonna tell you if you're wrong. Now I'm not gonna probably tell you on the spot. I don't want to embarrass
yeah,
you, but I'm definitely the one gonna be like, "That was not right. I did not like that." And that's
yeah.
why I have so many friends because I don't mind speaking up for myself and whatever's going on. So I think that's what I think was missing. Like the communication just was off last year, and I think Simone was had just completely. She didn't take Buffy's side, but I think she kind of did it and like was just like you got a friend over there, so you. I
Then
think is that they both feel betrayed in friendship. They both feel
yeah,
betrayed.
absolutely.
That's all it
I
is.
definitely think they both feel betrayed. And it's like, oh, you got your new friend over there. I got my new friend over here.
Right,
That's
which
it.
I mean, Buffy. I don't know why she consider her a friend, but yeah, go off, girl.
Yeah.
um,
Get
and,
your life.
and at the end of the scene, you saw where she was like, "What? They had finally left. Anila was comforting her, and then they got in the car, and then Toy was like, "Who I need to fight?" I'm like, "Girl, do you really want to go there? Do you really want to fight by a pool again? Because the last time you was fighting by a pool, I mean, you did win, but girl, it wasn't no like no landslide."
It definitely wasn't no landslide, and because we remember, Mama Lucy was popping her
What
in the head
that
with that
that's
clutch purse.
Mama Lucy actually won the fight. Mariah lost it, but Mama Lucy came
But
back and
yeah,
won it for her.
but even when Toya was like, "Who I got to fight?" Her husband, he was so damn tired, and he just like, "Look,
he
you know
is
what?
very
He
tired.
just
All
got
he do is work. That's all he do.
that's it.
He does nothing but
Either
work
he coming home, either he coming from work or he going to work.
the whole 8 seasons. He of course he tired. So that what
Tired.
that moves to the next scene. So Toya and her kids, like I love her kids are so cute. She's switching
Yeah,
her
yeah,
kids' school because she says that there wasn't much Black Lives Matter movement representation at that school, and I do
yeah,
like how this show is implementing that. It's very different than
absolutely.
other shows that has been coming on since that because it's just been like kind of forced, but the way they're sliding it in and not sliding, but the way they're putting it into the show, it's like more enjoyable to watch. Like no shade to Portia Luther
I
King,
agree.
but I feel like this is much more what I would have enjoyed versus just seeing that because we already knew Portia had went to jail and stuff like that, but this is more like like she's changing the school, changing the kids' school, getting in a protest
Yeah,
because there's not many, and it's a valid reason. Like the fact that
yeah,
she's talking about like don't use the word gangs. Like I like what she's doing with the
yeah,
kids. What's your thoughts?
yeah. I wrote that down as well when they was like, yeah, me and my gangs, and she was like, yeah, we don't do that. They're your friends,
Yeah.
which I think was very important because we
Mm-hmm.
all know, they little brown boys, how they can be perceived,
Mm-hmm.
how they can be, portrayed or taken and misconstrued. So
Yeah.
I applaud her for that conversation that she had with them and how she was open enough with them
Mm-hmm.
to where they could handle it at 8 and 10 years old. She didn't try and put too much on them.
Yeah.
And even, letting them know, hey, I want you to go to a school where you're going to have better representation. You're going to have more people that actually look like you that can understand a little better where you're coming
Okay.
from. So I definitely applaud that. I like the fact that she also showed her taking them to, the protests and stuff like that
Yeah.
because, we from, Tennessee. I don't recall ever being involved, and I'm from a very small town, but I don't recall ever being involved with anything in reference to like a protest
Mm-hmm.
or even speaking a lot about like racism and things like that. So to kind of see it now in 2021, I definitely appreciate the fact that a lot of the, cast members on the show are being more open about it as well as they're bringing their
Mm-hmm.
kids into it. So that was a really really good scene for me. Now she could have left off how much she was paying,
That's what I was gonna say.
but
That's what got us to this scene about how Eugene is working so much. The fact that she is paying $25,000. Was it a year for
a
per
year.
school? I mean, listen, every for Toya to list any price tag on anything is just crazy considering what she did been through. It clearly shows that she
Yeah.
ain't learned nothing, and the fact that he's always at work is that they may not be in debt, but they are. He still has to work, and it's just that's the only thing I can't get with Toya. Like I know that that's the life that she signed up for, and that's the life he signed up for, but it's just like, well, damn, don't you? I mean,
Yeah. Damn, you
damn,
should get tired of
he
yo.
probably
I mean,
smelled.
he be like barely making it. Like, damn,
I
I'm so
know he smelled
tired.
like hospital. Mary would have a heart attack. Mary would have a heart attack if she went over. If she stood in the driveway before their house, she'd be like, "It smells like hospital here," because that man is always at work.
Always at work. He either going or he coming from work. That's like, but and then I'm thinking like I guess he looks at it like he the breadwinner. He want to make sure he provides, and I'm sure Toya gets a pretty good amount of money for doing the show. I hope so anyway because she's an original and still going 8 seasons in.
Yeah,
So I'm like, but it seems like he maybe doesn't want her to
yeah,
do anything else. And I get it, but it's like,
yeah.
damn, Eugene, you need to take you a few weeks off and go to sleep.
Yeah, go back working out. He was working out one season. He lost. He didn't got back a little large. I know quarantine happened, but dang, he can't. Atlanta ain't
Yeah.
you in Atlanta? Y'all gyms ain't closed.
Man, listen, they
I
was
was
closed for
just
a
open
month.
today. Just open today. So, wow, inside gyms. Okay, but that was Toya. Contessa and her husband, they had their issues last season, and then they've opened up a practice together. So that was exciting for them, especially considering what you thinking, Chad. Go ahead.
Because I'm like, okay, so I am confusion. I've always liked Contessa. I
Yeah,
always try and give the newbies a fair chance when they coming into the show and everything. So I've liked Contessa from the beginning. I feel like she has had some really good moments.
yeah,
Not saying that she was correct, but she has made some good TV moments
yeah,
since she's been on the show. But I don't understand if y'all are already having issues with communication and she's still harboring feelings, it seems like, from when he didn't want her to go to
mm-hmm.
school in Tennessee. But now it's like, okay, y'all are gonna open up a practice together. I feel like they should have made an attempt to really sort out the issues that they have before taking that step, because now it's like you're gonna be really taking your home life to work, and ain't no patient going. I'm already sick. I don't want to come in here and be around y'all motherfuckers and y'all in here mad and cussing each other out or something. I don't want to be around that. It's making me sicker. So I really do feel like they should have, kind of like, okay, let's really try to make this
yeah,
work before we actually start to work together. That was I don't understand that situation at all.
yeah. I don't. I mean, this obviously we know that they have bigger issues this season. Allegedly, he may be cheating and stuff like that. So seeing those
Hmm.
previews is like, oh god, you know. But I like how they did try to edit it to where it looked like, oh yeah, like you know, we good now. So I'll just wait and see what happens. I ain't gonna say too much. I do feel like their chemistry is a little different from what I would want in a relationship, you know. And
Yeah, it
so,
seemed like he's a bit softer from what I could see so far in
well,
that
he's
scene. It seemed
always
like
been
he
a
was
little
a little bit.
softer now. Last
Well,
season
you
he was a
know,
little
well, you know,
harder. He was,
he
but
would go. He didn't mind getting that contestant, but it seemed like this season he's like, yeah, you know, we got to work on it. We got to do the
well, he
work. We
probably
need to
saw himself.
communicate more.
He probably saw
And
himself.
yeah,
He
that
looked
too.
back. He
That
probably
too.
was like, change. So I think he's cool for now. He ain't out here being like Ralph to Drew, and he ain't out here being like Mark to Kenya. So I'll take it
Okay, okay, I'm with that. I
for
can, I
now.
can, I can accept that. For now,
Um,
we'll see what Scott do for the rest of the episodes. Yeah,
right. All right.
we
We'll see.
watching your ass, Scott. Okay.
Okay, so then Simone's sons graduated, and I know a lot of people that graduated last year, where they were able to still have their ceremonies or whatever. But she had like a tail end or
Mm-hmm.
something like that for him, but she didn't invite Jackie. I didn't get much from this scene. I'm happy for her son, but she didn't invite Jackie, and I'm just like, okay, Simone, like we know you upset, but I wasn't surprised. I mean, I wasn't surprised she didn't invite Jackie. They didn't even really speak at the first party. I don't know if anybody thought that she should have invited her. I don't know why, because look at the first party. It was given.
Yeah,
She in the last scene, and we're going ahead for a second. She asked Heavenly, "How is Jackie?" So if you asking
she
somebody
did.
else, and I don't know if that was shade to Heavenly too, or but it was. I mean, they let you know like, why would she invite her? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely did not expect to see Jackie there, but I did think that some of the other ladies
Mm-hmm.
would be invited, but she only invited, it seems like, Toya and Anila. Because
Yeah.
even on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy kind of asked Simone about it. Well, you invited others, and she said no, all of the ladies were not invited.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not expect for Jackie to be there. They clearly ain't spoke in the last year or so. So
Yeah.
it's like it can be kind of odd for me to invite you with everything that we got going on. So then we'll have to be fake because we're at my son's barbecue, so we really can't interact with each other because it may become a bigger situation than what it needs to be because we're at his party. So I didn't expect it. It was funny though when Toya was like, "Oh, there go Jackie," because everybody knows that they work very close together. Their
Mm-hmm.
offices are really close. So when Toya was like, "Oh, there go Jackie right there," and they kind of started laughing a little bit. That was a little funny to me, but
Mm-hmm.
Jackie probably ain't gonna like that.
Yeah, I don't think she is. I did like how in one of the other scenes, Jackie and her husband where he was kind of talking to her about it. And I'm just like, oh, he's you know, I ain't looked at him right. I may be holding on to this. I ain't looked
Me
at
either.
him right
Nope.
since he decided to cheat on Jackie. I'm like the nerve of you. And I'm just saying, Jackie,
Right.
she ain't no bombshell. Like she ain't bad, but she's a beautiful black woman. The nerve, and she's a breadwinner. The nerve. So I ain't never looked at him right
Yeah.
since. But
And not only that, and I think he was so sloppy with the cheating as well. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't fuck with Curtis like that,
yeah, that's his name. I
and
ain't
I
know his
don't
name.
listen to nothing he got to say. Even if he giving the other guys advice, I don't want to listen to it. It's like nigga, go on somewhere, go coach a basketball game or whatever it is that he was doing before Married to Medicine.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you still on the shit list.
Right. And that chicken was not done. He used the air fryer. It shouldn't be that damn hard to make chicken in the air fryer, honestly. But
And
it
then he
was
had
not
cut
done.
it up into small pieces, so you think it would have cooked a little bit quicker and a little bit better than that. But yeah, and that salad looked dry. It looked like that salad that you remember from that Tyler Perry movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, when she
I
was eating that salad and after her husband got shot and that salad was real dry, it was just like some spinach leaves and a few tomatoes and like no dressing was on it or
oh
nothing. That's
she
what it
gave
looked
it to
like.
him.
Yeah.
I
She
remember that
she pushed it to
vaguely.
the end of the table.
Right, I remember that. I remember that. Just a little bit. Anila. So we talked about Anila because she was at the event. Anila was introduced finally her own way. She had a confessional to this time, and I don't know how to feel about her. I'll give her a chance. I am not like, oh my god, I love her right now. She's okay. Um, but obviously, she must bring something because they didn't just make her a friend of the show. They gave her an entire. They don't get peaches. They get what they get what's some things called the
A
chicken.
stethoscope.
I can't never say that word, but yes, they gave her one of those for the show. So I mean, her kids are really cute, and you know, her husband is Indian. You know, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of talk going on right now because they was talking about the lawsuit with Mariah. Basically, the lawsuit is about them not showcasing her other side of the
Her ethnicity and all
yes,
that. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes. And so
Hmm.
with them bringing her on, I don't know. It's a mess. Like, what are your thoughts on the Neela and the family, her scene, and just what you get thus far? Because it ain't much.
It ain't much, but as always, I'm willing to give her a chance and see if she truly earned her spot as a
Right.
stethoscope holder, or if it was a situation where it's kind of like, damn, we need another person. Okay, we just gonna try her for the season and see how that works out because maybe they ain't really have nobody else. I don't know. I do think she has a really nice looking family. Her husband seems really laid back and nice. I thought it was funny though when she was kind of talking about her backstory, and she's like, she was like I guess I forgot what it was, a buyer or something like that,
Oh, she
merchandise
was
buyer
like a.
for
Oh, I thought when she said devil
perfume.
when she said devils wear pride. I thought she was like a Emily or something. I don't know what was she.
I thought she meant. I was hoping maybe she meant like she was an Emily. I hope she wasn't meaning she was a Miranda, because the
I no,
pictures
she
they put
definitely
up,
wasn't
I
Miranda in
ain't see
that.
that
She was
shit.
dead. Them pictures was definitely Emily. It was not Miranda. And I knew she mean that.
And I'm almost leaning toward Emily pre. No, I'm thinking Andy. I'm thinking Andy pre before she got the makeover because I mean them pictures
Yeah.
weren't really hitting on nothing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was something she said, a perfume analyst. It was something crazy that
You
she
know,
said,
people
and I was
just
like,
everybody be
um,
saying they are analysts. Everybody they'll throw an analyst at the end of everything, child. You be dishwashing analyst too. Like, child, who got time for that? Listen. There are some real analysts, and some people just add analysts at the end of it. But I don't know what she does. I know that what she did, but basically now she's more of a housewife, and she's a blogger. She says. So I guess she like does
yeah,
advertising and stuff like that for clothes. I think she talked when I did the Married to Medicine happy hour 2 weeks ago. She
okay,
talked about like they asked her like what's a big mistake she's made, and then she talked about a time where she had a product that came and she posted the wrong product. So I think she's like an advertisement. You know, I don't think she do flat.
okay,
I
okay.
don't think she do flat tummy tea, but she does something is in similar ranking of it, but with clothes maybe.
Okay, because the husband did say, did we get any free stuff today? So I'm guessing,
Right,
people,
right.
throw her
They
a
send her
check, and I
stuff
ain't
to
mad at that,
advertise. Yes, correct.
to advertise for them because but I looked at, and she has about maybe 47,000 followers because I had checked it earlier. I wanted to see, being that she had, this
I should have
blogger because I'm
checked, but
used, I did, but she has about 40, I think it was like 47,000 followers on Instagram is what she had.
okay. Well,
So not bad. So, and I'm sure that'll go up the more people see her on the show, especially if she starts to really step into it and she, kind of
yeah,
brings it. So yeah.
that's true.
But that's it for Anila. But so I'm gonna give you a chance, girl. I'm gonna see what you gonna bring to the table, and if she can stand up to some of these girls, like a Heavenly or a Simone or whomever, then she all right with me.
She ain't gonna never stand up for Heavenly. Man. I'm sorry, Heavenly. That Heavenly is just a person that of all reality TV that I just feel like
You have to go ahead and
you
fight
can
Heavenly.
stand up to her. Yeah, you got to go ahead and fight her. You got to go ahead and just go ahead and swing. And which I don't know.
Well,
I feel like she gonna swing back too. I don't know. That's a big woman. And she
eh,
ain't even big. She just
she
a
is.
that's a right. Go ahead.
She's a solid one, but I don't think she gonna swing back just because I think human nature. That's kind of like what people supposed to do when they
Yeah.
get popped. But
Hmm.
she definitely ain't gonna swing first. Heavenly is the one where it's like I'm gonna get real loud and I'm gonna cuss you the fuck out,
Yeah.
and everybody gonna think that I kick your ass if I need to. Now I will say in some of these instances, to me, the only person that I can see that will be able to stand up and go head to head with Heavenly would be, our dearly beloved Mariah, who's no longer around. But maybe Quad. But I don't think I've ever seen them argue before. But maybe Quad. But outside of that, those other girls, she too quick for like a
She
Toya.
Mariah
And
couldn't handle
Toya,
her. She couldn't handle her.
Mariah, listen, Heavenly would say some shit, Mariah would give it right back
She would
to
get
her.
it
The
back,
over
but
yonder
it,
bite,
but it,
your house dirty. Like they had some good moments.
she got some moments, yes, but I just feel like a million of times I felt so bad for Mariah because it's like Mariah, she just I feel like many of those times she wanted to be like, you know what, I'm the EP, you fired, but she couldn't, and Heavenly knew it, and I think that was just something. I don't know.
Yeah,
They just their dynamic was always crazy, and it was some good TV.
yeah.
So
It
yeah.
was. It was.
So
I'm a,
then
I miss Mariah. FYI, if
I
you
would
Mariah
like to
Hub,
have her around. She could have came back as just a friend, like how Quad and coming around. I'd have been okay. I didn't want to see her
yeah,
as a
I
fool because
agree.
honestly, she didn't have nothing going on in my eyes. Like, not saying they all none like Jackie don't either, but I don't feel like she had much going on to where we just have to have her. She just give us some good shade, and she was probably the most relatable for us, Real Housewives of Atlanta type girl. She gave that best energy, But yeah. Speaking of
One
Heavenly,
last thing while
go,
we
you
before
go.
we move on about Dr. Heavenly, and listen, I love Dr. Heavenly. Her daughter is beautiful. Did
Uh,
you see that wig though?
on her daughter.
Yeah,
Her daughter had what's her name? Alora. I love Alora. Alora has grown so
I do too.
fast, and yeah, she's grown so
Yeah,
fast. That's all I'm saying. I did. The wigs were very questionable in this episode. Um, I love Simone. I love she's trying to be so different and so much more fashion
yeah,
forward.
she
But
is.
those wigs, when she kept putting that face shield on top of that little bob that she had, and it just kept shifting. She kept putting it on, taking it. I'm like, girl, leave it on. It looks better on.
Baby, at one point the little hair had scrunched up all the way to up there. It was crazy
I
as
was just
hell. I was like,
like,
Simone.
and I know who
And
does her hair. Like I know who does her hair. He lives in Atlanta. Somebody that I knew of. So I'm like, I know he probably like some mom girl. Leave that thing alone.
even one time when her and Toya was talking at the barbecue, she said, "Why are you looking at my wig?"
Yeah, when she was like, she okay at the barbecue, when she said, when you left, so you missed. She was like, oh. She was like, don't say oh and look at my wig. Girl, we all looking at your wig, Simone. This whole
Baby,
episode, they have this little bob. She gotta leave the bob alone. It's the bob.
yeah. She kept bumping it and putting a little curl in it. I'm like, Simone, go and take it out.
Take that thing out. The last scene of this was Heavenly and Simone, which I was very surprised that they were gonna be talking because they had just argued in the early episode, and I'll never forget what she said. Heavenly, and I wrote this down. I was like, Lord have mercy. She said, I was trying to get along with your dirty ass. And I said, ain't nowhere in the hell somebody gonna tell me trying to get along with my dirty ass, and I'm gonna meet with them the next day or so. I was just like, this
But that's
Heavenly,
it.
huh?
That's why I say you have to with Heavenly, you have to go ahead and try to get at her because Heavenly, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I laughed last night when I watched it. I laughed again today when I watched it. Because it was like I'm trying to get along with your dirty ass. It was
I was
just
like,
the
oh my
funniest
God.
thing.
It was hilarious. I was like, damn, Heavenly? Like, child, I don't know. So they meet up, and I guess they meet up basically to talk about their issue and just how it went left or whatever. And like I said, she asks Heavenly, how is Jackie? And I was just like, all right, Simone, at this point, girl, if you want to know, call that girl yourself. Like, it's at this point, either be done with it or don't be done with it, you know?
and and move on. But I did think it was crazy to me that they had to have a sit down
Mm-hmm.
to kind of make up for their previous sit down because like they started arguing, so now they got to have another sit down on top of that. But I like the fact that they both kind of owned up to okay, well I did some things that were wrong and I can
Mm-hmm.
do better. And Heavenly even said, I know she knows that her mouth can be lethal and her Twitter, she goes in
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter and she said she was gonna really on work on that. But it's
Yeah.
good that I guess because some of the things that she said, I think I would possibly take it to heart. But I think they know that Heavily kind of says stuff, I think, for shock value. I don't think she necessarily means it,
I don't think
but
it's
it's
shock
like
value. I
you
think
just
she's
done,
just saying it. She's just is upset. I don't even think she
and she
knows
just
what
says
she
whatever.
be saying. until she looked back and be like, "Ooh, I said that," because she's even done that before. I think it's just a matter of like, "Oh, you ain't finna get me. I'm heavenly." With your dirty ass or whatever, your mama, it just comes out. Like I really think she has mouth diarrhea, and it's unfortunate because she was talking to her. She was just like, I said I'm gonna try to do it, and she was like, you know what? I didn't say that already, so I guess I gotta show you. And I'm like, yeah, Heavenly. How many times
Hmm.
you didn't?
You gonna have to
She's
show
had
it.
this conversation with every damn woman up there, especially Mariah. That's like when
She
she was
has.
cussing in the church. So bless her heart. I love Heavenly, but she just be going
I do too.
in. It's such a pleasure to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm sure to those women, it's like, well, damn, bitch, you know?
But it's crazy because even I watched Watch What Happens Live last night, and
Yeah,
Simone was on there, and
yeah.
Andy put up, played a little game like we're gonna show some tweets. Tell
Yeah.
me if you think Heavenly said it or if she didn't. And one of the tweets was, and I remember when Heavenly posted this tweet a while back, like last season, when they were saying that Heavenly needed to pressure wash her house, and the tweet was something to the effect of, and here I am thinking that my house was dirty when it's Simone's house the one that's nasty. But I remember she said that tweet because it was like Simone had came home at one point, when they were filming, and her
Mm-hmm.
husband and sons hadn't taken out the trash and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the thing, Simone was like, "Oh yeah, Heavenly didn't say that," and Andy was like, "Yeah, actually she did." And Simone was like, "Well, she must have been talking about herself because her house nasty." Speaking of Heavenly's house, did she get a new house? Does it? Is she always lived in that same house? Because I thought it
I
was
think
she
it's
had
the
a
same house.
different house.
It's a
Oh, okay,
it's a
okay, maybe
it's
it
a
was.
big house, but it's like an older house. So she's like,
Oh, okay,
I feel like she's been renovating it slow. She started with the closet and maybe going out because it did look a little different.
yeah,
Um,
okay, maybe that's what it is. She redid the outsides or something. I don't know.
yeah, some does look different. I can tell like just looking at the houses. Heavily as it relates to like social media, she's like a part time blogger now. Like she Heaven help us or Heaven whatever the thing is she does. She be talking. She does a
Hmm.
lot of interviews. I would love to have her here one day. And she's always tweeting. I just saw a tweet today about my dog. You know when she walked up to the dog barked at her. She was like, my dog can always smell another dog a bitch, something like that. I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's what she does. I don't think it's good. I enjoy Heavenly, but I guess the good thing is that she can back it up. We ain't gonna have no Jen. We ain't gonna have nobody that do this on Twitter. At least we know that it's gonna happen over there. So
Heaven ain't gone.
obviously
That's true.
they must fall out again, or maybe it's something that Heavenly saw in these two episodes that she didn't like. Because they, like I said, they don't watch the episodes until they air. When they
Yeah,
interviewed in the confessionals, they're just getting asked questions about it. They don't necessarily know what's happened.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. Heavenly, I still love her. People think she tacky and loud, but I think she's good TV. I think for Merit to Medicine,
Oh,
she's
she's
really
definitely
come
good
in
TV.
and she's like made it her own, and she's like a standout,
I agree.
whether you like her or not. She's not a villain.
That's true.
That's what I can appreciate. She's not like a person that we don't like. If you don't like Heavenly, it's because she's too loud, or she's too, maybe she's a little too direct and cut too deep. But it's not because
Yeah,
she's just a mean person, because she's very sweet.
mean person.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree with that. I am looking forward though to seeing Miss Quad. Miss
Oh yeah, she
Quad.
come back next.
She
I thought
got
she was
it.
coming to
She
the
got it.
trip, but
Yeah.
she coming
So
next week, so that's good.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing her as well, and just kind of seeing the group. Seeing how the group gets along with
Yeah,
one another. But going back to Heavenly, Heavenly is definitely good TV, whether you like her or not.
yeah,
I definitely don't see her going anywhere anytime soon unless she decides to do so
yeah,
because she just kind of says stuff and she owns it. So that's the difference between her and a lot of people where they'll kind of get around or get at the reunion and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way," or Heavenly be like, "Yeah, I said it." You
yeah.
know what? So yeah, so I like Heavenly
Okay. Well, I think we covered everything in the
and her new
episode.
body. Heavenly, if
I
you're
do
watching,
love
I
her
like
new
you and
body.
your new body.
We talked
Yeah,
about this last week with Chase. I said, "Child, I love her little belly top, a little Toya, Toya, Toya." I was like, "Come on, Heavenly," because she came a long way from when they said that she was like stuff like a can of biscuits like 3, 4 seasons ago. That was you talked
that was
about.
Dr. Jackie.
That's when they was at it. You talked about what she and they went at it with Jackie, but they had a little moment.
They
I'm glad
did
that
have
they
a little
recovered
moment. They
because
did. Yeah,
So
because I think Heavenly said Dr. Jackie's body looked like a little boy, and Dr. Jackie said when she take off her clothes,
it's like a
she
can
don't
of
want to look like a
biscuits.
busted can of biscuits. she,
That was
she
she
ate
did say
Heavenly
that.
up with that one though.
She did. She did. She did. So,
Yeah,
I mean, their friendship is interesting. It, I just wish Jackie would say more. She don't say much. Heavenly be talking,
yeah,
and it, honestly, like Simone and Heavenly can be one and the same. They both loud. They both don't mind popping
loud.
off. So
Yep,
it's really just she didn't went from the same person to the same person. Jackie
yeah,
did,
yeah,
and yeah, that's just, I guess, I don't know. We're gonna see. Um,
yeah. I hope they. I hope. I really do because I don't feel like we've seen anything to which can be. Now, of course,
yeah,
we don't know everything that's happened, but we haven't
yeah,
seen anything that they've shown on TV that's that deep where they should be like,
yeah.
okay, well, fuck this 20-year relationship. I'm done. I don't want to talk to you no more. So I hope that they can kind of bring it back together. And I think y'all said this last week. I am still kind of surprised that they are even at odds because I never thought, and I know reality TV can be a little different. We done seen it on other shows, friends fall out,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I just never thought I would see them at odds and not speaking to one another and stuff like that. That's kind of shocking a bit to me, but I hope they pull it together.
I mean, listen, these are still shows, and they still have to have a storyline. And I mean, and
That's true.
what could they really air out there during the pandemic that would keep this show interesting? Not saying that this storyline is going to keep the season going, because honestly, it's quite sleepy to me. Honestly, like I'm not. They're not two people I want to see beef. Like it's not really going to escalate to a
Yeah,
level where it'd be like, oh shit. Like I'm not going to enjoy either one of them saying that. Either one of them reading the other, because they're like best friends, and they're not even that kind of person.
yeah,
So
right.
neither one of them would deserve if the other one read them down. I don't think, from what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So
I agree.
I just feel like they need to just fix it and let these other girls beef. Like let these new girls come in beef, and they just sit over there and and ooh from the side. That's all we need from
Right.
them.
And then they talk about it in their confessionals and the after
Right.
show and stuff like that, and they discuss it then.
Exactly. That's
That's
what
what
we
I want to
need.
see. Yes.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Maybe
Well,
we'll get that.
hopefully, child.
I'm
Hopefully.
optimistic. Yeah.
Um, like I said, I think we covered everything. So we are about to lean out. Like I said, you will be seeing Antonio throughout this entire season. He you'll be seeing him. We just see that. You can see him, follow him on Instagram at the real Mr. Cross on Instagram. And make sure everyone likes, subscribe, comment, all things lean. I am finding out that many people are watching, but they are not subscribing. Even close friends. Not Yuri. But anyway, we gonna leave.
Subscribe first. When you go onto the lean, subscribe. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button first. Then watch it. Then like it. Then comment it. But make sure you subscribe and watch. It's very
Right.
important. Y'all, come on now. Show up for my friend. Do that. Don't
Right.
be no bullshit.
Right. Y'all do it
Okay.
for Wendy. Oh, wop-sided body self.
Y'all do it for others. Speak on it. Come on for the lean.
I
Make
enjoy speaking
give
on
my
it
boy a
too.
platform.
Right. Okay, we're about to get out of here. Thank you again, Antonio. We're gonna see you on the next time for one of these future recaps. And until then, we see y'all later. Bye.
Peace out, y'all. Have a good day. Bye.